What happens when a global gaming company has to combine 30, 40, 50 different data sources, each with its own quirks, limitations, oddities, crazinesses? That's the reality at SciPlay, one of the world's leading mobile game publishers. In this episode of Extracted, I sit down with Gal Carniel. He's a director of product for ad tech at SciPlay to talk about how his team handles the complexity of marketing data at scale. We dive into ELT tools, why they're critical, why out-of-the-box solutions often fall short, why flexibility matters so much, and how a new approach is giving SciPlay the visibility they need, the data they want, and the results that they are hoping to get. From Apple's brand new APIs to hidden metadata from Facebook that can change your campaigns, this conversation is all about turning messy data into better targeting, better measurement, better results. Enjoy. Who are you?
Okay, so I'm Gal Carniel. I work at SciPlay as a director of product in the ad tech department. And basically, we take care of all data needs for marketing, and when we can, we help other teams too, of course.
Nice.
Been at SciPlay for almost 6 years, been in the industry for about 8, 9 years.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, it's a good name to be with. I mean, obviously, you guys do amazing games, global reach, all that stuff. So, what do you specifically focus on in your role?
Anything that can get us better targeting, better measurement, better data, better insights, just anything.
That is a challenging world. I mean, obviously, ever since ATT, right? You don't have too many IDFAs. Now you got to look at a lot of different data sets. You got to collect a lot of data. You've got to have some means of saying, okay, this, I believe that set. I'm not sure about this set or those sorts of things. There's a lot going on there.
Yeah, exactly. So if the game, if the company, if looking from the game side, they have their own first party data, which covers about 99% of what they need. For
Yeah.
marketing, it's usually a huge mix of 20, 30, 50 different sources of data that you need to combine into one.
Wow. 20, 30. Did you say as many as 50?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on how many networks you work with, but even if you
Yep.
funnel it through some kind of third party, it's still 30 different languages and 30 different mapping requirements.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So let's talk about ELT. Why do you need an ELT tool? What are you using it for?
So basically, I remember this from this job and my previous job. There is always a balance between what are we going to delegate to third parties and what are we going to do ourselves. Um, when you're a small team, it's pretty easy. You go with a third party. When you're a big team, it's a bit of a tougher decision.
Yeah.
But generally, whatever we can, it's usually a good idea to delegate to a third party that specializes in that specific thing.
Right.
Because for us, just doing it for ourselves is going to be more expensive usually. But the downside is why we still develop most things ourselves anyway, is the flexibility that comes with it.
Okay.
So in most cases, when you get out of the box products from third parties, you're very limited in what you can actually do to customize for your specific needs. Yeah, so that's basically where we always need these third party services, but usually they'd be too limited to actually meet our specific needs, and we just be okay developing internally because we do have the teams for it.
So I want to ask what you're actually doing with it and what data you're getting and how you're using it and all that stuff. But I want to dig a little deeper on the thread that you started where you said most third-party tools, you take it out of the box and it's too limited or it's too constraining or it does this thing. That's perfect, but it doesn't do the thing that we need. What was different about Extract?
I think, let's say, if I'm talking to some kind of company that offers me to connect some data for me, so they'd usually have all the data sources that I need.
Yeah.
But it would usually be a conversation like, but I need to be able to do this and that and that. And then they would say, sure, we can make it happen for you.
In other
And
words,
sometimes,
custom development.
yeah. So sometimes they can, sometimes they can't, sometimes it's too slow, sometimes it's fine. But with Extract, I think that the thing we saw from the get-go is that it's already built to be customized. Basically, we had no idea about this product at all. We just happened to have some conversation with someone in Singular.
Nobody did, Gal. Nobody did. It's brand new.
But we weren't even looking for it. I mean, we did have conversations with some other companies around similar things. It wasn't exactly this specific need. It was more like packaged in with reporting dashboards and stuff like that, which is what most of these companies do.
Yeah.
but we didn't really explore something that's specifically just for funneling the data. And basically, from the first time I saw the product, which was pretty early in development, I think, but from one hand, but also late in development in the fact that it already had quite a lot. I could already
Yeah.
see that it's basically designed to have us customize as much as possible and to give us as many options as possible to do our own thing. But it kind of struck a nice balance between being too flexible to a degree that I would need some data engineers and a bunch of people to actually make sense of the code and whatever, and actually write code. It
Yes.
was simple enough for people like my team, or like product managers, operation managers, who are like half technical, to actually be able to set the configurations and get it done. And especially when it's funneled directly into our database already, all we really had to take care of is permissions and permissions.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Amazing. Almost like it was built by developers for developers, which frankly, most tools should be really, because developers are always building these tools. But I mean, this was built by people who were funneling data all over the place all the time and wanted a better way to do it. Okay, that's a cool insight. It was totally unexpected as well, but I want to get to what data are you getting? Why did you need a specific tool to get it? And what are you using it for?
Okay, so there are a couple of things we use it for right now. I think one of the things that happened that kind of was a nice little timing that happened when we actually started exploring the product is when Apple released the new App Store APIs. And that was like brand new, 50 new APIs that they released. And you couldn't get them anywhere unless you developed it yourself.
Yep.
And then I think by the time we talked to Extract, they already had it, or maybe it was like almost ready.
Hmm.
So that was a big winner for us because that was a lot of value very fast and very easy. Because the Apple API, we actually developed it before, but it's not fun to maintain. Obviously, it's a lot of work to keep track of all the changes that are happening. So that
New version, little change here,
yeah.
feel different, all that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So that kind of came as a major part of what we were looking for. And then from there, we expanded into basically it kind of splits into two. From one hand, I can build like parallel data sets from the same source, from the same
Mm.
network, and be able to kind of overcome conflicting dimensions that sometimes the networks have. So on Facebook, you can't get placement and country in the same data set, for example, or something like that. But here I
Yes.
can just set up parallel however many I want and pick up all of the different streams that I can get separately. Obviously, the core problem exists. I can't combine them, but I can at
Yeah.
least get them separately. And then I can, based on the use case, choose what's interesting to me. So I can dig deeper into the granularity of the data. Beyond that, I can get more metadata for all of the data that I have. So I have a lot more enrichment data that I can get for campaigns, for creatives, for ad
Mhm.
sets, for accounts, for apps, anything like that. So that
Mhm.
always helps to kind of be able to keep enriching our data set beyond what's available normally on MMP data.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool.
And
Where would you say this fits in your tech stack? It looks like you were doing some of this before. You looked at a bunch of different tools. You tried a few different things. You considered building in-house. Where does it fit? Is it a standalone? Is it fit in a pipeline? Where does it sit?
so honestly, for now, it's kind of a standalone. Obviously, it's new. So we're still
Yeah.
exploring. Right now, we're focusing on bringing in the data, accumulating the data, adding more sources that we know we're going to need, exploring the data, and then figure out, okay, what fits into our core data
Mhm.
sets and what is
Mhm.
separate data sets that we need to build.
Mhm.
Mostly, we have focused on enrichment right now. It's not replacing anything that we had other
Yeah.
than other specific APIs that we built for enrichment, which we could deprecate.
Right. Right. Okay, cool. So that simplifies your world. There's fewer things to keep track of, fewer things to make sure they're running and working, all that stuff. Any unique challenges that you run into
With Extract,
with Extract or with your goal of getting these different data sets and bringing them in-house?
other than the occasional error that happens everywhere, I don't think there
Hmm.
was anything specific that I could define as a challenge that wasn't solved. I think over the time we've been working together with you on adding the new sources and adding and seeing how you've been adding alerts and a bunch of stuff like that. I think we kind of everything kind of came together to have what we need. From here, it's just like optimizing the streams, optimizing the data, and getting whatever else will be new in the future.
Cool. So let's talk about the results then. As you're getting these data sets in, and as you said, sometimes you're getting multiple, let's say, flavors or subsets of the same data set that Facebook or Meta won't allow you to take out all at once and have combined and everything. So you're getting data from the App Store. I assume also Google Play, also Google Play. What's this making better? What is this improving for you? What is this doing?
So it again splits into two. So it's from one hand, it's digging deeper into the data so that we can start doing like placement level analysis and stuff like that, which are normally not as available on dataset on
Right.
the data sets. Other than digging deeper, you have this contextual data that you're basically, it's another layer of information that you don't see in normal reports, right? So you
Hmm.
see installs and spend, and you see revenue, and you see maybe you know what changes you made in the campaign or what changes you made to the source or the countries or whatever. But there's a lot more stuff going on every day.
Hmm. Hmm.
So the App Store data, the contextual extra data, like stuff from App Tweak that we added, um, and anything like that of what else is going on, that can really help kind of frame together what impacts our performance on a daily and monthly basis.
Right.
There's a lot of stuff that maybe you'll know, maybe you'll remember, but maybe you won't. And then you're going to spend the 2 days trying to find what happened. And then it had nothing to do with your performance, but something else entirely.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. Super cool. So you were looking at a bunch of different options. You're looking at build, all that stuff. Ultimately, you chose this tool and it's working for you. Any other uses that you're planning in the future? Like, are you going to expand this? Are there other places where you want to get data?
So I think that everything that we could kind of come up with at the time when we started working with Extract, we
Yeah.
communicated to your team and then they added most of it. I can't think right now of anything that's kind of outside the scope of that and not something that's kind of natively connecting to our
No
ecosystem
worries.
anyway.
No worries.
Good question, of
No
course,
worries.
but who knows what the future will bring.
Good, good, good. Maybe ask you one last question. Kind of like you're a data guy. You run a team. You manage a lot of flow. You've worked with a lot of tools. What struck you? What was interesting? What was different? What was good? What was bad? As you started using Extract and using that user interface.
Okay, so obviously it was still taking shape as we started working with it, but basically what I like most about it is that everything is out there, and that's the thing I generally like about the approach that I've seen from the start is that any information that can be visible to us is. So we have the full logs for everything, and we have the full information about what data is in each stream and each connection, how each connection works, everything we do or click. It shows us the logs of what actually is happening behind the scenes. We have timestamps for everything. We have methods to choose like what kind of connections we want and how we want to update the data, whether it's overriding everything every day or just adding new incremental data. And usually Singular, I think, or Extract does a pretty good job at predefining those configurations to what makes most sense. Sometimes,
Mhm.
of course, we learn together what makes more sense in hindsight,
Mhm.
but then we make the adjustments together and it's all good. But generally, this balance has been working very well for us because to us, just having that kind of visibility into what's going on behind the scenes and allowing us to kind of build the trust in the system. That's very important for us, not only for troubleshooting, but just generally knowing that we know what's going on and we understand how the data flows. And if there's something not behaving like we expect, we can usually figure it out together or alone.
I love that. I absolutely love that. I mean, okay, this is what the machine is doing. It's reaching out, it's talking. Okay, it's connected. Yeah, it's authenticated. You can see that, and it's not just like a spinning beach ball or something like that, or a progress bar or something like that. You know what's happening, and if there's a problem, you see exactly where the break is. So, absolutely cool. Gal, I want to thank you for this time. Super interesting stuff. Thank you so much for taking this time.
No problem. Thank you.